Just remind me.
Push it up. Here we go. Testing, testing.
Yep.
Let's take a second.
Testing, there we go. All right. Hi, I'm Steve Lane, and this is Joe Salucci. We're co-founders of GroupAppz, and we're going to talk to you today about the company very briefly, and we're going to talk to you about our first product, which is called GameOnz. And then we'll ask for some help here in the Philadelphia community. So, in one slide, the elevator pitch. Who are we? What are we? Well, first of all, Joe and I are habitual entrepreneurs. This is our 7th venture. We've been doing this for over 20 years now. Exited all 7 of the, all 6 of the companies. This will be our 7th one. Hopefully we'll exit this one as well. But we've been in the area, enterprise software, 7 years ago, we got involved in the internet with some online communities. So what are we building? We're building a group-oriented applications platform. Our thesis is, and we're developing it on top of social and mobile networks. We believe that social and mobile networks, obviously mobile networks like iPhone, or mobile platforms, iPhone, Android, BlackBerry, and others that will come out in the future, as well as networks like Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+. These are becoming next generation operating systems. So just as we built applications for years on top of systems like .NET or LampStack, we think that there's going to be a whole new category of application developers that will build on top of these social network and mobile operating systems. We're already starting to see a few of them emerge, companies like Spotify, companies like Zynga. We think this is going to go into the enterprise and in a lot of other areas. What we are building, while it's an application, we think the real end game here is it's a very, very rich data that is going to form what we're calling the group graph. If you know what the social graph is today, Facebook talks a lot about the social graph, and their value is being built upon the social graph of information that they're collecting, demographic information, psychographic information, your likes. We think that that has a similar corollary as you start to group people together. You can look at groups of people and look at organizations, and that information becomes very, very valuable, especially with some of the predictive analysis that we're going to do on what we call the 4 W's. Who you are, where you are, what you're going to be there for, and why you're going to be there. So, we have built a product that we're going to share with you today called GameOnz. Our initial focus group for this product are sports and parent groups. Why? Because one, we have a lot of experience in this area. We had a company that we sold in 2007 called Lax Power. It was the largest community on the internet for the sport of lacrosse. We then took that to football, baseball, basketball, softball, volleyball, sold it to a company that's owned 25% by ESPN called the Active Network. So we know a lot about this particular marketplace. 2, there's over 60 million kids from the ages of 8 to 24 from the 8-year-old level all the way up through college that play sports competitively through youth programs like Pop Warner or Little League Baseball, through the 18,600 high schools that are across the United States, as well as about 3,900 colleges that have some form of NCAA sports programs. We're going to market through distribution partners. We'll share with you a little bit in a moment who some of those distribution partners are. And what are we doing here? Well, one, we're seeking groups. Any of you that might happen to belong to a group, if you've got kids that are part of a team, if you have your own soccer team or lacrosse team or volleyball team, or if you're in a club, even though we're focused predominantly on sports, we're talking to people that have book clubs or just want to do sharing. So we're looking for groups to help us as we launch the product. We're also looking for designers and developers. We'll tell you a little bit more about that. Some business development expertise. And we're also getting ready to go out and raise a little bit of angel financing. The business has been entirely self-funded up to this point, but we're now going out before we do a Series A financing later this year. Okay, so let's talk about GameOnz. It's an organizer and productivity app. It is not a team or a league management system. It's not a big groupware heavy-duty platform. It's a very, very lightweight personal productivity organizer. Again, think predominantly around a sports parent or a coach of a team. We've developed it. It's now on iPhone, Android, BlackBerry, and the web. It's available to be downloaded from any one of those markets. Our focus is, again, predominantly parents, players, not the little kids, but once you get about 13 or 14, you get yourself a phone these days, coaches, and it can be used by fans. It is focused around the group, which in this initial product are teams, around the events that teams participate in, practices, games, tournaments, what have you. It has an integrated feed from the Weather Channel. It has a mashup with Google Maps for directions. And we'll also show you a mashup that we have with Foursquare for finding places around an event. It's also a sharing, communications, and collaboration platform. You can share information right now today via Facebook and Twitter. It has a built-in, very simplistic, but very easy to use messaging capability, and it's around collaborating for the people that are members of that particular team or group. Again, our focus is predominantly youth and high school, but it can also be used by colleges and professionals. So let me introduce you to Brittany Moyer. Brittany is a 40-year-old self-proclaimed sports mom. Brittany has 3 kids. John, who's 16, he plays football. Luke, 13, plays lacrosse. And little Debbie, she's only 10 years old. She's not in sports yet, and she dances, okay? So this is a use case scenario of what our prototypical user would be. She owns a Dodge Caravan, and she has an iPhone. She's a frequent Wawa customer, in and out of the Wawa a lot, and she also happens to love the Philadelphia Eagles. So Brittany needs to get organized, and how does she get organized? She uses GameOnz. And so I'm going to turn it over to Joe here. She goes to GameOnz. Any of you can go there, it's live right now, www.gameonz.com, and she signs in, and this will take her to her page. Got her signed in. And there she is. This is Brittany's home page. Brittany is following, and she's a member of the following teams: Ashby Lacrosse for the 13-year-old, Cardinal O'Hara football. She's a parent at Cardinal O'Hara for a 16-year-old. She happens to like the Philadelphia Eagles, so she can follow the Philadelphia Eagles as well. And little Debbie, she belongs to something called Rittenhouse Dance. It's not a sport, it's just another category. So you have team pages, so she can go in and you can create your own teams, and we're populating the teams as well, and you'll hear about some of the partnerships that we're working on right now. These will be pre-populated by some of the organizations that we're dealing with. So they'll go to their members and say, oh, you belong to the Ashby U.S. lacrosse team. All of your events, all of your schedules, the rosters will already be input. But you can create your own events and or your own teams as well. So you can edit that, you can create events, you can take a look at past events, you can add it to your calendar. We have a link to iCal and to Outlook. It has an update. It's been designed in a quote-unquote, social user experience right now. We tried a lot of different looks and feel, and everybody came back and said, look, do some sort of a simplistic mashup between Facebook and Google+, and that's what we think that we have here right now. And so very straightforward functionality. We have events over here on the left. We have our scores. You can take a look and share photos. We went out and talked to a lot of organizations. I should say that we field trialed this in the fall with some youth and high school football teams, and the ability to share photos was one of the top requested capabilities, and we have a very limited messaging capability as well. So you can see what's happening, what's coming up. As you can see here, we have a sponsor called the Victory Store. That's an advertiser. Our business model is a bit of a hybrid. We have an advertising-oriented revenue stream, and we also have a software as a service or a subscription-oriented stream, as well as licensing to some of our distribution partners. So Brittany goes in here. She sets this up at home. This is on the web. But Brittany now has to get in the car, because she's got to go. She's got to go take care of little Johnny. Because Johnny's got a football game. So Brittany wants to see if there's going to be a pregame tailgate, pretty typical thing that parents do with high school kids. She puts a message out. Does anybody know if there's going to be a pregame tailgate? We'll bring bagels, donuts, and coffee. Let me know. Shane Lilly, Mike Callahan both responded, yep, we're going to bring hot chocolate, so she can now message and communicate to just the people within her team. If any of you have kids that have been participants in any type of youth or high school sports, and you get these 80 email messages about who's bringing what through your regular email stream, you can know that it gets to be a little annoying. We think that this helps to contain that. As you see, she has an events page. Unfortunately, we can't do a live demonstration on the iPhone. We have to get a 4S. I guess a 4S you can do it with. But so we took some screen captures, but this is what it looks like live on the iPhone. Again, you can download this, and you have members. Okay, John's done. Let's get ready to take Luke to lacrosse. Luke has a